Hey, what's up guys? Before I start the video, I just want to make a note and thank everyone for the feedback I got with the new series that I'm doing. It's not something I'm going to do all the time. There's really no set plan for it, just every now and then. But I did pour my heart out there, and I didn't know, what kind of feedback I get from that, and it was overwhelmingly positive. And I just appreciate all the support and messages and everything else, and thank you. Really, thank you very much. I'm still going through all the messages and stuff. So anyway, today I have a review of this holster, which I've been talking about for a while now. You guys got a little tease of this a while ago. I mentioned that I had one of the best, if not the very best, custom leather holsters for 50 bucks. That's right, this is $50, completely custom made leather holster. It is phenomenal. So, but first and foremost, the safety check. People ask all the time, why do you do the safety check? It's not going to harm anyone watching. Well, no, but it's more or less for peace of mind. Because if I don't do the safety check, then of course the anti-gun viewers can point out how ridiculously unsafe gun handlers are. That's really all it's for. It's not for your personal protection, but it's to lead by example. Of course, if you're a kid watching this all the time and you constantly see people doing this, maybe you see the mechanics of how a gun works. Maybe that kid who watched these videos happened to find a gun and his friend's playing with it, and you say, you know what, don't do that. And they unload it. Who knows? But anyway, the whole purpose of that is just so that everyone knows that everything's safe. That I'm safe. Obviously you're safe, but now we're all safe. So there you go, safety first. All right, this will be off to the side. We don't need the magazine for this video. Anyway, what we're talking about again is this holster right here, not this one. This is for reference. This is what I used to carry, which I'll show in a second. But we're talking about this custom Clark Fork leather holster. All right, here's his information. Okay, website, email, and phone number. He also has a YouTube page. There's more, hold on, there's more information here. There's his YouTube page right there. All right, so check him out on YouTube as well. I couldn't be happier with this holster. Now I have a couple holsters I've been testing, reviewing. They're different style holsters. Now this one is very minimalistic. It's very simple. It's a fold over design, as you can see here. You have a lot of reinforcement on the back, which also acts as your second loop for the belt. And we'll talk about how this carries on the belt. Actually, I've been carrying this on two different belts. My dedicated gun belt, or one of them, and then of course just an everyday average belt. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But I have to say I'm extremely impressed. For 50 bucks, I've seen holsters just like this sell for 70, 80, $100. This is custom workmanship. Attention to detail on this. I mean, the molding is what I'm so surprised about. This is extremely rigid. All right, I'm really squeezing this. All right, and it does not want to fold in on me. All right, it's just two pieces of leather. It fits the gun absolutely perfect. Okay, which we'll look at right now. All right, one thing we're going to notice here is on the back, we have protection, so the gun is not up against our skin. If you are wearing this with, say, one shirt or garment or whatever, and you do have the holster up against your bare skin, it's comfortable. The gun doesn't irritate me whatsoever. It's also the right height. It's specifically made for this gun. It fits it very well. I'm turning my body. You can't see it, obviously, but I'm turning it so that I'm not muzzling me or anything important. But you can see where the muzzle is on this gun in accordance with the end of the holster here. So it is a good fit. You have no wasted room anywhere. It fits great. It holsters fantastic. Getting the gun in and out is very easy. When I'm retrieving the gun, it gives me enough retention where I don't feel like if I have to, I should say, not if I can, but if I have to be physical, I can run around with this. I've purposely jumped up and down. I've tried bending over a lot just to test this to see how it's gonna hold, and it holds very well. This gun is not gonna fall out. But when you need to unholster the gun, when you need to draw, it's a little awkward in this position around the tripod, but it's very easy to draw the gun out still, okay? So you have all the retention that you want, which is basically just from the molding process here. You have no screws or anything on here that you can adjust the tension. You may see that as a downside. I don't need it, honestly. This has a retention screw all right, and some grommets in there. So basically you can pinch this tighter or looser depending on how much retention you want, but it's not as effective as you would think. The design seems great, but it really doesn't work exactly like that. And when I tighten this down, I don't get much anyway. We'll compare these in a minute. But the retention is fantastic when I'm being active and I'm just walking around daily, but when I need to retrieve the gun, I don't have it so that it's stuck in there. There's no thumb brake or anything like that. There's nothing holding this in except for the retention of the leather. Okay, so basically like press fit. But it's awesome. I mean, it holds the gun all day long. There's different styles of holsters, obviously, and some people lean a little bit more towards the much bigger, wider ones, because the idea behind that is that wherever it's connected to the belt, let's say in this case you have two connections right here. All right, so our connection points are about 4.5 inches apart. All right, so you have 4.5 inches that you have to support all this weight on. And some people, the idea of like a crossbreed holster or similar type holsters, in fact, my next holster review will be one of these where it's a very wide attachment point. The idea, concept is that if it's really wide where it attaches, you're spreading out that weight amongst a much larger surface, therefore it's going to be more comfortable to carry. In theory, that's right, but I can tell you in carrying this, it's been fine. Not only has it been fine on a dedicated gun belt, which I have right here, it's a super thick, specific gun belt. It's very, very rigid. Do a measurement on this real quick. This is 1 5/8 inches long, or excuse me, 1 5/8 inches wide. All right. And by the way, when you're getting these, not only can you pick the color of the finish on the leather, but you can also pick the color of the stitching. Okay, obviously I just went black on black here, just because I know it's for my Glock and that's all black. But you can also pick the width of your opening holes here, okay? So if you specifically just want to wear this on a smaller belt, all right, and you don't want to flop it around, you can actually get the openings custom to whatever size you want, and vice versa. If you're going to wear a big fat duty belt, you know, for your job, or you're going to wear a huge utility belt or something, and you need a wider opening, these will be custom cut for whatever your specifications are, which was awesome. Now mine just fits my gun belt, but believe it or not, even though I always advocate wearing a gun belt, I wear my regular old standard leather belt more times than not. And this one, see how wide this one is. See, it's all beat up, you know, it's floppy, it's not rigid whatsoever, but this carries very comfortably on this every single day. It's like 1 3/8 inches, all right, as opposed to 1 5/8 inches, another one. So actually, let me give you a side by side here. There's a difference in width, and of course the thickness is a lot different too. This is twice as thick and much more rigid. But with the regular belt, slips in very easily. I have very little wiggle room on here. 4 out of 5 times I'm carrying it like this as opposed to with the dedicated gun belt. Now you can see the difference here. So there's a little bit of wiggle room, but obviously because of the weight of the gun, it's going to push down on here, rising the belt up so it doesn't move. Now if I return upside down, yeah, technically it might slide a little bit, but there's so little wiggle room, I haven't had a problem with this. Now even with this floppy belt and with the tight or smaller width on the attachment on here, this is held very, very securely. All right, I have not had any problems with this flopping out. You guys know what I'm talking about? A lot of you carry your guns, you'll have this issue all the time where this is a side view. Here's your body, all to the left here. And as you're walking around, you know, doing whatever you're doing throughout the day, you get this. You get your gun flopping around like this. And it's not good. It's an uneasy feeling. Obviously you're gonna print more. If you're carrying concealed, it's gonna push out. Now you can see, I didn't mention it, should be obvious, but this is an outside the waistband holster. This is not a concealment holster unless you put a shirt or something over this. Okay, so your belt goes through this and it's gonna carry on the outside of your belt. It should be obvious by the design. But I do still carry concealed, I just put my shirt over this, that's all. I don't wear a tucked in shirt usually, unless I'm getting dressed up or something, and I have other holsters for that. But anyway, so the regular belt goes through just fine. And my gun belt fits, it's just a snugger fit. But you can see how thick this belt is, and it still goes through these opening holes just fine here. That's the other thing I like about this, is that when it was molded, these loops are molded out and they're very rigid and stiff. All right, so I don't have no problem at all getting the belts through and that piece kind of folding on me. Now if these weren't as rigid, I mean, even pushing down fairly hard, they don't want to close up. Whereas on other holsters, well, I shouldn't say other, like there's a bunch of them. There's one other holster that was a similar style to this, and a secondary piece of leather that wrapped around that created this flap because it was a very similar design. It was always down all the way, and it was a struggle to get the belt through. All right, you don't want to spend 15, 20 minutes trying to put your holster on. It's very, very simple. The obvious drawback to this, just as the design is inherently, is that when your belt is already on and fastened properly, you can't put this holster on very easily because you need to undo your belt to feed it through. But that's just the design feature as compared to this DeSantis holster, where your attachment actually has some button snaps, so you can unsnap these, which tend to be stiff sometimes, and you don't have to basically take your belt off to put your holster on. Okay, you can slip these through the belt, come around and snap them back shut. So you do have the advantage of that. But comparing these two together, overall, I still like this one more, even though this looks like it may have more options. This does do this floppy thing. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because the attachment points are so loose, they can't really be adjusted. These were custom made for my specifications. So, and because they're also not close to the holster, so you do get this floppy motion going on. Now this is an inside the waistband holster. All right, now you think that when you have it inside the waistband holster that you'd have it more securely against your body, but it's not the truth here, because I can tell you from use, even though I like this and carried it for a long time, I got a lot of that. I got a lot of flopping around and it didn't feel as secure as this one does. Also, the leather itself is half as thick. All right, and you can see it's not nearly as rigid, all right, as this one. This one, I mean, it's very hard to bend and to squeeze your opening here. But real attention to detail. I mean, it's all about the molding. That's all we really have. You have a piece of leather here. Well, there's two pieces of leather. One large one that's wrapped around and molded, and then the second one which adds support on the top here, okay, so it doesn't want to squeeze in, which I really like. Now also, you'll notice as I put this gun in, that the sights do not rub anywhere on the holster. This is something a lot of people don't think about when you're looking at different holsters, especially if you get the chance to hold one or handle one in a store. You want to put your gun in very gingerly and make sure that your sights don't rub on the top of the holster. May not seem like a big deal, but a lot of people don't think about that, and you can ruin your sights, or you can knock them out of alignment. So there's no issues with that whatsoever. And that's also probably because of the second piece of leather that goes around. It adds that rigidity and it's stitched together, so it wants to keep this opening open, as opposed to if you take this piece off, it's not nearly as rigid and it's going to want to fold easier. So put this back up. So just in comparing these two, because I've been carrying this so long, I have a much, much larger preference for this one. It carries well, it's a small package, it's very compact, there's not a lot of wasted leather, it's extremely rigid, the fit is perfect for my Glock 36. Of course, he has a multiple guns you can get molded for. You want to look at the list like any kind of holster company. You want to make sure they have the gun that you want the holster for, so they can properly make that for you. But I couldn't be happier with it. For 50 bucks, the same style holster with this amount of craftsmanship in it easily can get $75. That's kind of like not even across the board. That would be a good price for a holster like this, and you can still see them for 80, 90, 100 bucks, and sometimes more. But it's very straightforward. It's just well executed. It's not a big fancy leather holster. It's not some crazy ostrich skin leather or anything like exotic or anything like that. But it's just very well executed. That's the best way I can put it. It's a very simple design, but it's executed perfectly. And for 50 bucks, I couldn't be happier. So that's it right there. That is going to be the Clark Fork leather holster. I like this so much, I want to get one for my Taurus as well. And for the Taurus, I want something, I'll probably do something brown, maybe a little bit more elaborate, maybe some white stitching, something that's more like classy. This is very just subdued, black gun, black holster, black stitching, black. Tactical, I suppose. But yeah, so you'll probably see another one of these in the future for my Taurus because I like it so much. The next holster review I'm going to be doing is a larger style. I'll show it, maybe my next EDC video you'll probably see it because I'll be wearing it and using it. But it's completely different in the overall style of holster, but obviously serves the same purpose. It's also for this Glock 36. So that's it. Clark Fork Leather. Check out his YouTube channel. Check out his website if you're in the market for a new holster and you want an outside the waistband style. This is certainly one of my favorites, and you can't go wrong for the price. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more videos. I have all kinds of stuff I want to review. I think the next knife I'm going to review is that zombie knife, and I'll talk about why I still have it. Well, it should be obvious, but the person who won it never claimed it. Neither did the person who won the humidor. I don't know why, but so be it. I'll be giving away the humidor once again, and I'm just going to keep the knife because it's kick-ass and it's awesome. So that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take care.